What stops many Muslims from accessing therapy is that notion to think, to believe this is haram, because of that really strong hadith which you can find in Bukhari and Muslim. All of my ummah will be fine except for those who commit sins openly, and it is part of committing sin openly for a man to do something at night. And then in the morning, when his Lord has concealed his sins, he says, oh, so and so, I did such and such last night, when his Lord had concealed him all night, but in the morning he discloses that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had concealed for him. So what it refers to is the compulsion of our thoughts as a Muslims to think about sin as a something that that is, first of all, haram. Obviously, it is, but second of all, that it needs to be hidden for myself, and also hidden for other person. And majority of the scholars agree that this hadith is sahih, is authentic, and we believe that. However, Sharia and religion in Islam, they came as a straight path and easy and flexible approach to life. And if it comes to a mental health matters or spiritual diseases matters, it's really important to make that distinction between gossiping, slander, and backbiting, and talking therapy. You see, majority of the Muslims, they fear that if they will go into a therapeutic setting, they will be forced to commit sin by slandering, gossiping, or backbiting another person, be it the person has died, be it the person is in their life, or even revealing the hidden secrets, the hidden sins within themselves. So obviously the paradigm that majority of Muslims are starting with is that they want to work for the akhirah, meaning they want to earn Jannah, and may Allah grant us all. However, the matter of mental health and spiritual health, which will impact your afia, is very sensitive. And majority of the scholars right now, they almost see nasiha, meaning talking therapy or giving advice and counsel and coaching as a remedy, meaning if it is a necessity for your health, for your quality of life to take things off your chest literally, then this rule wouldn't apply. So maybe it is important for us to see what is backbiting, what is slandering, and so forth. And the hadith again comes with support, and that is again a Muslim reported hadith. Do you know what the hiba backbiting is? Saying something about brother that he dislikes, and the person asks, and what if about my brother what I reveal is true? And then the Prophet advised, if what you say is true, then you have backbited about him, and if it's not true, that you have slandered that person. Okay, so we are reminded over and over again to be self-conscious believer with that sort of really detailed instructions or about what is it that we tell about other person. We as Muslims, we want to present our akhlaq and adab, manners and character in the best of forms in relationships with others. But at the same time, we have clear instructions on what is it that we should avoid in the process of polishing this character. And another hadith gives us also instructions of such that people are being punished in the grave for everything that could be avoided. One of them used to talk about spreading malicious gossip, meaning niyama, and the other used to take precautions to avoid precautions from being clean, tahara, meaning from getting urine around himself. And that is hadith from recorded in Bukhari and Muslim. So what we learn from this hadith is that it is actually so important to know what is it that we say, how is it that we say about other person, otherwise it can go with us to the grave. And obviously we're going to take that into consideration. However, there's also other spectrum on the spectrum of the Sunnah, of the tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, where women they used to come to Prophet ﷺ and they used to complain. They used to, you can say, maybe not maybe gossip, but complain, definitely complain about their husband. And we have a hadith of Hind bint Uthba, who said, "Oh Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Sufyan is a miserly man, and he doesn't give me enough for me and my children." And what Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Take what is sufficient for you and your children, the amount that should be reasonable." You can find this hadith in Bukhari. So how we want to interpret that hadith is that if something is heavy for you, if something is unmanageable for you, there is absolutely no compulsion for you to hide it in your chest, to suffer it, and then create a difficulty for yourself or for your child, especially if there are matters which involve any type of abuse. Now, going back to that word which I used, nasiha. You see, nasiha is part of our faith, meaning it is by some scholars even recognized as a wajib to give a good advice for khair for another person. Okay. Now, a person who gives khair ideally will be a person who is qualified, a person who understands the etiquette of giving advice, counsel, or coaching. However, everyone should strive to be halil, to give that nasiha in the best of manners. And the reality is not everyone can do that because not everyone is conscious. Now, we know from Muslim how important giving advice is. The deen, religion, is nasiha, meaning advice from sincerity. And Prophet ﷺ, he underlined that that sincerity should be based on, and that advice in sincerity should be based on book, on messenger, or it should be given to leaders and to common folks. So from starting from ihsan, meaning the sincerity, the strength of a faith, of a therapist, of a person who gives you advice. They should at all times base their advice centered around Quran, Sunnah, and your welfare, meaning your eternal welfare for the sake of akhirah. And if you are receiving nasiha, if you are receiving talking therapy, please, at all times make sure, check the qualification, check the credentials of that person, of that professional, and try to see whether you're receiving compassion, rahmah, whether that person is sincere, meaning has akhlaq, and adhere to their professional standards. And it is across the board, anywhere you reach therapeutic advice at the moment, that we as a practitioners, we need to maintain confidentiality. And confidentiality means that everything that you discuss with that person, that professional, will stay within 4 walls. However, if your life is in danger, or if there are any suspicions of any criminal activity involved, then that information has to be reinforced with a supervisor and then taken further for the sake of your safety. Okay. Now, saying all of that, I hope that it comes with no surprise that your safety comes as a paramount. So if you are living in relationships which are somehow volatile and they have an impact on you and others, then yes, the confidentiality will be broken. And again, it is aligned with the ethos of Islamic eschatology, because your first responsibility is to preserve your afia, is to preserve your life, a gift which is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's absolutely no question about it in the scholarly world about whether one should take or not any type of use. Obviously, the answer is no, and you should avoid that sort of pain, that sort of situations for yourself. Okay, so I hope this video helps to understand you, to help you to overcome, and will help you to understand why for some Muslims it's difficult to come for talking therapy. And if you are considering taking therapy, I hope this video will support you in shifting that mindset, about riba, backbiting, buhtan, slander, and nyama, gossip. And seeing that the safe space, comfortable space created by therapists and you, a place with confidentiality, a place with sincerity, a place with compassion and empathy, is actually a tool. It's actually one of the tools available for you to clear your chest, to leave past behind. And if that means talking about painful experiences with significant others, then be it. But it is never a case of nasiha or talking therapy to take it further, to destroy reputation, publicize it, because otherwise your therapist would actually lose their license. So I hope that was clear. I'm welcoming your chats. I'm welcoming you for free consultation with me. You can study this with me. You can be my client. You can work with me as a client. You can work with me as a student. And I hope to